Oh, that is a nice copper coin, but oh, Doug, do you know what time it is?
45 up.
Who says 45 up, Doug? It's quarter after. What's up, guys? Quarter Hoarder here, and welcome to Quarter After, my favorite show in the whole wide world that starts at quarter after. We got a good guest on tonight, a guy I've known for almost a decade. Fun guy, but has this super serious side to him as well. I'm sure we're going to hear some interesting stories that are both funny and also somber, but it should be a really good one. He's an interesting dude, and I think you'll enjoy it. I'm going to bring the gang in a second. I want to say a couple of quick hellos. And I think there's some new people because Jacob was live earlier, and I think he sent some of his viewers right over. So if I don't catch your name, I apologize. But Wicked Digger, one of my moderator, Chris, how are you, brother? Appreciate you stopping in. Bethesda Ministries, DBA Chaplains for Chains, thank you. The Cape Cod Father, Turd Ferguson. I just saw Hot Mess Fishing, Alicia, another moderator. Thank you, as always, Alicia. Audrey Girlinghouse, Sue Ramsey, Jody, Proven Ground Exploration. That's a new name. Must be a Jacob friend. Thank you. Minnow Dunkers. How are you, sir? Or madam. I'm not sure yet. We'll find out later. Workman's Adventures. Teresa, the treasure hunter. Yet another moderator. Thank you very much, Teresa. Clad Warrior. Thank you for the super chat. Clem Fandango. If I didn't get you earlier, how are you? Jeff Probst. Terry Spitz, I think it is. Welcome, everybody. And I'm sure I'll make another round as the show goes on. 5 Mile Relic Hunter. Got to give a shout out. Oh, and Bethesda Ministries. Thank you for the super sticker every week. I really appreciate it. 150 people to start off. I'm going to let them trickle in. And while they're trickling them in, let me bring on the trickle master himself. Dog Tag Doug, Mexican Doug, James Von Doug.
Okay, would you explain what a trickle master is, please?
It's someone who's mastered the art.
Maybe I can improve on it.
Someone who's mastered the art of trickling. Okay. We don't really need to get into it any more than that. How are you, Dougie?
I'm doing well. Busy week this week.
Yeah, you're doing the double duty crossing guard stuff. I wish I had the picture queued up of you stopping the traffic with the crash up derby cars.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
But no, Dougie's doing God's work out there, getting those little kids across the street. And,
yep.
And Doug promotes the YouTube channel the whole day to every little kid.
I'm handing out stickers, and
half the viewers watching tonight are under 7. So thank you, guys.
Now they're all middle school age. So
make sure they do their homework tonight. I want to.
Oh yeah. I'll be checking all their homework in the morning.
Oh, you're checking it. Oh, great.
Oh yeah, I got to make sure they're going to work or going to school prepared.
Let's bring in some of the gang. We'll bring in, he looks like he might be half asleep back there. Charlie.
He is half asleep.
Actually, I did take a nap not too long ago, guys. My wife had me working outside all day, spreading fertilizer. It was nice today. Did a lot of work. Put birdhouses up, Jason. Birdhouses.
Oh, okay. What are you trying to get? What kind of birds are you trying to attract in?
Bluebirds. I'm really into the bluebirds and the swallows, the tree type of swallows. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
so we did that today.
I'm a big fan.
I just want to tell you, last Saturday, I really appreciated you guys to detect where we had the site down there. Nice site to detect. And I took that nap, and after a nap, I found a real nice coin.
Yeah, it was a good one. Part 2 will be out this Tuesday, so I don't want to go over it too much because I forget what I put in which part. But great house, super nice homeowner. I loved her excitement. I captured a bunch of her sound effects that I might use in future videos because it was just raw, emotion, and I really loved that. That was cool. She was a great person too.
Yeah, a lot of fun there.
So talking about a great person, Charlie, why don't we bring in the lovely Lindiana Jones? How are you, Lynn?
Hey, how's everybody?
We are very good. I'm going to bring in Rich last this week, only because I always bring you in last. I feel bad. It's just the order that you come up.
It's
so
okay.
That's what it is. And Lynn's going to be
jumping the lines, Lynn.
What's that?
I said no jumping the lines.
Once in a while, I would say it's alphabetical, but that's not quite right.
Right.
Lynn's going to have a show this weekend and next weekend. I'm going to bring it up
Really?
in a second. But let me bring in Rich first so the whole crew is here. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Mr. Rich Van Winkle, how are you, sir?
Good. How's everybody doing?
We're good. The crew is
Good.
here.
Hi, Rich.
Jacob is in the back green room. We're going to bring him in 10 minutes. Man, I was watching some of his videos today. It's such an emotional thing because you're hoping that he finds these lost people, but then, if he finds them, it's like utter sadness, but yet happiness at the same time. It's really hard to explain.
Yeah.
It takes a special person to be able to do that. So I'm really excited to have him come on tonight. But I'm also excited to announce that Lynn will be at the Elverson Antique Show this weekend.
Wow.
Lynn, tell me about the Elverson Antique Show.
This is really one of the only local shows that I do. It's only about an hour and 15 minutes from home.
Who's got a rotary phone in their house?
Oh, it's ours.
Okay.
It'll stop.
Who else?
Yeah.
I think it's a hand cranked phone.
Yeah, I think it's like one of these.
It's not a rotary. It's just a landline.
Okay.
Anyway, Elverson is out in Honeybrook, which is sort of near Morgantown, just off the Pennsylvania Turnpike.
Okay.
Yep.
It's a real nice show. If anybody's in the area.
Now, if
Hey,
they go, Lynn
Lynn,
hands out the signed photo that you guys can do whatever you want. Well, you can throw darts at it. I don't care. We just try to
Right.
give you something.
Hey, Lynn, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
The Amish are out that way. Do they come to your show?
Not too often.
Not too often?
No, once in a I've been to shows where the Amish do come through, and a lot of times it sounds crazy, but they like to price. They like to see the prices on stuff because
Right.
they like to know the value of what they have or what they think they have. So, but not this one too much.
Right. I thought maybe they would bring some eggs along with them and do a trick with you for
Well,
for objects.
usually they'll come to the outdoor shows. Like I do one in New York State in August,
yeah.
and they come through there.
Okay. I was just curious because there's a lot out that way.
Yeah.
Lynn, I see on the little screenshot here, I'll bring it full screen. If people were to pause this and print it out, do they save that $1 off admission?
Yes.
There you go, guys. Pause it, save $1, get out to the Honeybrook Elementary School. You can meet Lynn, you can check out some cool antiques, and you'll get your picture on the show next week.
Right.
So that'll be nice. Well, I'll announce next week's ones next week, Lynn,
Okay.
so I don't confuse everybody.
Sounds good.
And next week, we will have a guest coming on for 15, 20 minutes, Robert Thiessen, who does the Come Out Swinging event. That should be an exciting one. We'll get into more of that later, but we will have a short guest next week. And before I bring Jacob in 5 minutes, I want to give another little shout out, Lynn, to, do you know who this is? Everyone put your thinking caps on. I'm going to bring it up full screen. Who do you think that is, Lynn?
Look at what he's got in front of him.
Oh, I know who that is.
Who is it?
That's the guy that won the triple score last week.
It's the guy
Very
that won,
good.
Michael
Michael.
Saccamundo, the Paisan.
Right.
He got it in the mail today. So
Wow.
he sent me the picture an hour before showtime, and I wanted to put it in there. So
Awesome.
congratulations, Michael Saccamundo. He said he's going to send us a picture of his first find with it also.
There you
Lynn.
go.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, so congratulations to Michael. I noticed when we ever do a giveaway, Lynn, like the live stream is bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
Like there was like 1,700 people when you're giving something away.
Go figure.
But I think the next giveaway we'll do a smaller one where I won't announce it, so only the regular people have a shot. You know what I mean?
Only the real
That'd be cool.
fans.
Yeah.
Well, Bob Saccamundo is on almost every week.
Oh, really? I never heard of him. But is Michael Saccamundo on, the guy that won the prize?
Whatever his first name is.
Oh, that's a good way to treat the viewers, Doug. Whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Whatever his
Okay.
name is.
No, but he's a good guy. I appreciate him coming on and winning. you know, when you get one of the big manufacturers donating a prize, I gotta promote it. And when you promote it, you get a lot more people to come on. So
You know who Bob Sacamando is?
was he from that Alice's restaurant show?
No. He was from Seinfeld. He was
Kramer's friend.
Cosmo Kramer's buddy.
Oh, okay. All right. Wicked Digger said Michael Sacamando is located near him. So,
okay.
Good guy though. I messaged him a little bit. He was really happy, and I'm glad somebody who won it is going to actually use it, which is always nice.
Yeah. It's up there too.
Someone who won it last time just put it right on eBay, which you're allowed to do. You know, you're allowed to do. What am I going to do? So I got 3 minutes till Jacob comes in. I got a couple of interesting things coming on. Some good questions for it. You guys are going to like it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and check out his channel. There's a link in the description of the live stream, Chaos Divers. So in the last couple of minutes, Lynn, you weren't with us at this house that's been aired. Oh, Relic Riley is here. My good
I was just going to tell you that. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, let me know. I love Riley. Thank you for popping in, Riley. Good dude who always finds amazing things.
He is one heck of a detectorist.
Yeah. But we were on a really good house, Lynn. You weren't there. And Rich, had the best find of the day, in my opinion, the first part. And dare I say, I think he's got the best find of the day this week coming up in the second part. So yeah. I don't know what's going on, why he's always managing to get some of the best things. But
it seems like it only happens now when my mom's not there.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, if you want,
the Oppenheimer magic only works one way.
Do you want me to lock her in the car for a half an hour when we start, Rich? Give you a jump start?
Yeah, he has 2 weeks to redeem himself.
Yeah, Lynn won't be with us for a couple. Oh, Steph Diggs is here. My good friend, Steph Diggs. How are you, Steph? Last week, Steph put out a video of what she thought was one of her greatest finds ever. I don't want to say what it is, but if you haven't checked it out, go check out her YouTube channel, Steph Diggs, and you'll be in for an extra special treat. All right, let me get my breath. I got a minute, and Jacob's coming in. I can see him getting ready. He's extra handsome today, too, Rich. He looks a little like you, Rich. That's all I'm going to say. And I got some questions about it, too, because I don't know how, you would, dive under the water with a mask when there's, hair impeding that. Those are, questions that they must have come up at one time. So
that's a good question.
Listen, I only ask good questions, Rich. This isn't a fluff show. This is a serious docudrama. But all right, I'm going to bring him in a minute early because I see him back there. So if you're not familiar with him, my buddy Jacob and his partner Lindsay, and I think there's more to the crew, have a YouTube channel, Facebook page, Chaos Divers. And what they do is if you had a missing loved one, family member, friend, whatever, they will go search them out. And when I say search them out, they will dive down into lakes, rivers, dangerous bodies of water with strong currents in hopes to have closure to these families. They work with law enforcement. It's such a important, needed thing. But like I said, it takes a special person to do that because you're dealing with some heavy, deep, emotional things. So I'm excited to have him come on. I'm really curious about his journey. So ladies and gentlemen, everyone give a round of applause to my good friend Jacob and Lindsay from Chaos Divers. How are you guys? I'm going to bring you up full screen. Hold on, Jacob. I always screw this up. Don't talk yet. Don't you talk. Now you may talk.
What's going on, guys? Thank you, Jason, and everybody in here for tuning in. It's going to be a heck of a live stream tonight.
Yeah, I always try to bring the guest right in to the big screen on the left. I always screw it up, Jacob. I always put him in the middle. It's always like me, or I don't know. You'd think after a year now I'd get this.
That's what we love about you.
Well, listen, I try to be organized. It just doesn't work out so well. But listen, before I get into the heart and soul of what Chaos Divers is, I wanted to give a little backstory because I've known Jacob for almost a decade. Would you say almost a decade?
Yeah, I'd say at least. It's whenever I started YouTube.
It's when I started, because when I first started, I don't know how I came across Jacob's channel, but he had a channel back then called Chaos Paddlers.
Yep.
And Jacob was like an extreme kayaker. And when I say extreme, like he would do videos of him like coming off of waterfalls down to these rocks down below. He had a crazy video where he made this like giant life-size, it looked like a wood lathe, but in the middle was a kayak, and he would sit in it and spin it to try to practice turning himself back upright when he flipped over in the water. Doug, I don't know if you're familiar with kayaks at all.
Yes.
I'm going to bring a picture in. Now, this is not Jacob, but you see how the kayak, like the guy's legs, if it tips over, it's not like you can just swim away. Like your legs are trapped in that thing. So, you really have to practice when you get over just using your arms and I guess your body weight to flip back over, and watching Jacob on this like homemade Frankenstein contraption. I thought it was great. And instantly I was like, I like this dude. And we kind of became friends from then. Do you still have the contraption, Jacob?
I do not. Actually, the contraption to begin with was a kayak rack, and then I decided to make a shower out of it, and then I ended up using that wood and making. It's been 5 different things so far. Now it is a camper. It's a slide-in camper. So it's been taken apart and reused. I don't know how many times.
Always repurposed.
Taking repurposing to the limit.
Yeah, that everything. I had to take that all apart. It was my backyard. It was just an experiment, and I did it. I accomplished it, and it was how to learn how to roll your kayak over without the abundance of water going up your nose and stuff like that. So a lot of people get scared when they try to roll a kayak over. Yeah. So I was like, I got to figure out a way. So I built something. It was the most hillbilly-ish looking thing, but it worked.
I thought it was cool. And like I said, like I try to envision, I've never kayaked, Doug, but like if my legs are trapped and I flip over and now like I'm submerged in the water and my legs are trapped, like you better bet your bottom dollar I want to know how to flip that thing back over real quick. So I thought it was a good service. And that was a huge video for you, as I recall, too, with a boatload of views at the time.
The day of that evening is when I lost my channel. So I had a viral video going. It had like 16,000 views in probably a couple hours. And that was my first big, oh my goodness, I think I may have made it on YouTube. And then my channel got deleted that night.
It was really a bummer. And Jacob, we talked on the phone when it happened, and he tried everything he could. He lost the channel, Chaos Paddlers. And it, like he said, he was just starting to like catch on, and he had to start over. But you always held your head up high. You always bounced back. You never like were like, woe is me. And I think the good attitude goes a long way. And, now you've got more success than you ever had on the previous channels.
It really goes to show, in my perspective, of why I always say, at first it was keep paddling, because I was Chaos Paddlers, and I mean keep struggling, keep your head above water type deal, and that's what I would say. Now it kind of went from keep paddling to keep diving. Kind of just took Chaos Paddlers into Chaos Divers. There's no rhyme or reason why it's Chaos Divers. And regardless, it just, keep pushing in life and things will get better. I promise you. And that's the way I've always been.
Now, you were never a quitter. You always I know the work that goes into doing this every week. And, you, as big or small as your YouTube channel might be, like you build it from nothing, and your heart and soul is on that thing. And to lose it, I know you were devastated, but you kept your chin up, and I'm proud of you that you kept pushing on, man.
Well, I appreciate that, and if it wasn't for this one, I probably would have quit about how many years ago?
I've known you for 4 years.
So yeah, she kicked my butt and told me just because a lot of things started happening, and it was like everything together. It was a lot, and I'm like, I'm just done. And she yelled and screamed at me until I said, okay, I'm back, and then this is where we are now. So
Now, I've got one last story, and then we're going to go into the chaos divers, and maybe Lindsay, I'm sure she knows of it. But Jacob was kind of crazy, Doug, with not only the kayaking, but the guy. I don't even know how I would explain this. The guy had a Bigfoot costume,
Jesus.
a full life-size, big, hairy, head to toe Bigfoot costume, and he would make videos of him like rollerblading through the park with a Bigfoot costume, and like he would go by people, and they're like, "What what's going on?" And then my favorite one, I'm not playing the video, Jacob. I'm just going to bring a picture up.
Okay.
Jacob, look at this, Doug. In the Bigfoot costume, did this paragliding where like they pull him up in the sky. So if you were at the park or whatever, you look up and there's Bigfoot paragliding above your head on this motorized contraption. Like, who even thinks of such a thing?
You would.
I wouldn't have the nerve to do it.
Let me tell you, there's another thing on that. It was like 100 degrees that day, and I was dying in that thing.
I remember. I can't believe he even did that. And he would like bounce around like a monkey and make the sound like he was playing the part, Doug.
Yeah, I was a little crazy back then.
But he had a good way to blow off some steam, and like I said, always a good sense of humor, which then brings me back into where we are today. Like, how do you go from like all this like fun energy to doing what you do now, which is very, very serious, working with people at sometimes their lowest moment in life? How do you balance those two lifestyles? And Lindsay, feel free to jump in because I know you probably know them better than anyone.
I can't really explain it. I don't know. What do you think?
I think the biggest part of it is just like you make this connection with the family. They get a sense of who we are. We get a sense of who they are. When it comes to, you're serious in the moments that you need to be, but then there's also times where, it's just Jacob and I on the boat, cameras aren't on, and we can have those fun moments. I'm a firm believer, and I've said this before, that if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And this is absolutely that kind of profession. So, you take that fun when you have it. There's days where, you're going, and you will kind of read each other and be like, we just need to take a day off. And thankfully we have that ability to where we can, take the day, just reset mentally, physically, just kind of get a step away from it. So that way we can come back, fresh-minded, clear-headed, and get back to it. But we just try to stay as true to ourselves as we possibly can, and hope that, we're able to perform this job and that people will understand who we are and what we do.
Told you she talks better than I do.
Hey, listen, I know who the good ones are. You're just a pretty face, Jacob. You're just a pretty face.
I'm just a pretty face. I don't know about all that.
So if you don't mind, Lindsay, I want to take a step back for the people that might not be familiar with you. Can you explain what Chaos Divers does? And the majority of your recoveries, you're contacted by these families. Is that correct? So can you walk us through what you do and how you go on these different, I don't want to call them adventures, or I guess cases, or whatever you even refer to them as?
So first, Chaos Divers, we are a sonar search and recovery dive team, in the sense that we will search any type of body of water via, we have two different types of sonar. We have side scan, down scan, and we also have live scope. We've been in everything from tiny little ponds to, the mighty Mississippi River and everything in between. We travel, for the most part. Almost all of our cases are, at least 2, 3, 4 hours, if not farther. We've done cases all up and down the East Coast, as far south as Texas, all of the southern bordering states. And then we've done things out west as far as like Oklahoma, We even went to, I believe it was North Dakota last year on a case. But that's what we do. We travel the country. We search every body of water for missing loved ones. And how we get our information is typically families or, loved ones of that missing person will reach out to us. We have an upcoming case where law enforcement has reached out to us. And sometimes it's just a community member, a concerned citizen saying, hey, this is where I'm from. And this person this case has always weighed heavy on my mind. I didn't know this person, but I'd really love for them to be able to be brought home. So in that, we get as much information as we possibly can. We try to, on these trips that we take where we work multiple cases at once, we try to plan a route that, puts us in the right spots for all of those. And from there, we set out and just do the best that we possibly can.
I have a picture, and you have a lot of them in your show. But Doug, when they say they use sonar, like now this one is blatantly obvious. Like to me, if that boat's going and I see this, like that looks like a car. I can clearly see the hood. I can see the 3 windows. Some of them are really difficult. Like you have to really know how, like, look at this. Like they were able to read that sonar picture and say that I think there was 2 in this video. If I was
going to say there's 2 in that one.
Yep.
Yeah. But they're able to read that. Now that's a top-down sonar image. Is that right, Jacob? Like from the top of
that, yes, but it's the side imaging is on the top and the bottom is the straight down image. So yes, it is from the top, but it's kind of like at an angle type deal.
I got you. And then the second one, which I find to be much more dramatic, like, and that's what I said. What they do has got to be difficult because, you're looking for this loved one, this missing family member. You're hoping to find them for these loved ones to help law enforcement, to help give closure. But when you see that, and now Jacob's going to, or someone from the team's going to dive down, the best case scenario is really hard to deal with. Does that aspect of it weigh on you, Jacob, where like, this is heavy stuff. Like you're going to be doing this work that, you're going to be thinking about every time you close your eyes, seeing these images that most people try not to see, but it's such an important thing to give these families and loved ones closure.
We've been blessed to bring home 19 family members of the lost. And, we want to be able to be the forefront for the families. And whatever we see, we kind of, I can't say the word, she can say it.
Compartmentalize.
Okay, got it.
Thank you. And and it's a beautiful thing that we're doing for these families. So it's not anything that's bad. Yes, I mean there's times where nobody should ever see what they see, but it's a blessing that we're able to do that, and then we can handle doing that.
And some of the I don't want to say adventures. What wording do you guys use, Lindsay?
We typically just say like on our journey.
All right, yeah, because and I don't mean it disrespectfully. It is an adventure. You need an adventurous person to tackle these things. There's real danger for these divers going down there with currents, and they got to get close to these vehicles. They got to wrap cables around to try to lift them up. So many things could go wrong. It is a dangerous thing. How do you prepare yourself physically to go down there and fight the current, battle all that, try to find the right a part of the vehicle to lock these cables on, like in the dark? How do you handle just that physical part of it?
It's definitely something that takes getting used to. I know that, so most things are lighter, more buoyant in the water. However, the only thing that gets heavier in the water, I swear, is a tow cable. Tow cables, the more they're out in the water, the heavier they get. So there's just a lot of, you're kind of using your surroundings. There is a lot of times where you have zero visibility. Everything we do is by feel. You've got to know, it's something like, okay, if we know we're looking for, this pickup truck and you kind of study that image prior to, you know what that truck looks like. So that way, when you go down there and you don't have the ability to see using your eyes, you can use your hands and you know exactly what you're feeling for. And then from there, it's just basically a lot of muscle, and you gotta buck up or shut up, and you just gotta do it.
No, it's tough. And I've seen some of the videos where you were looking for one vehicle and found another vehicle. Like, I guess you don't know what you're going to encounter down there. And I see a lot of them. You'll come back up. I guess you take off the license plate and use that with law enforcement to confirm that that is the car before you call heavy duty tow trucks in and go through the expense of trying to recover maybe the wrong vehicle.
With taking the license plates off, mainly it's because we can't see them.
Right. How
so
are
we
you
take-
manipulating a screwdriver to that sounds like it's even harder.
There's a lot of times you kind of be surprised. Some of them will come off super easy. I grabbed one where I just grabbed a hold of it and just pulled it right off. There's other times where it's bolted and screwed and I have to sit there, rock it back and forth. Sometimes I'll rip them. She knows whenever I'm down there and having struggles because my bubbles are going nuts and she's saying, yeah, he's cussing down there. But a lot of times I usually take a longer screwdriver with me and just go back and just pop it off, and it usually comes off. Sometimes I have a little issues with it.
Yeah. Now, when you work with the law enforcement on this, do you have to typically let them know before you're driving down? Because are there issues with, like, it might be a crime scene and now we're changing it up. Like, do you have to call them beforehand? Do you typically call them after you locate it, but before you lift it? Like, how does that process work so that, cowboys watching at home don't get the idea and go do it the wrong way?
There are some cowboys out there that do.
I'm sure there are.
So typically our process is, like, once we locate a vehicle, if we're not already working with law enforcement, a diver goes down, Jacob, myself, Eric, if there's any divers who are joining us for the trip, they'll go down. Once they bring up some sort of verification, whether it's the vehicle that we're looking for or not, that's when we call it into law enforcement. That's when we let them know, hey, this is who I am. This is what we're doing. This is what we've found. And then from there, we're hands off until law enforcement arrives on scene. Again, we can explain everything to them. From there, it's, do they want to remove the vehicle? There's a lot of times where if the vehicle is not the one we are searching for, they will leave it in the water for their dive teams to come and utilize as a practice arena to remove that vehicle. If they do want us to remove it, then, we wait for the tow truck to get in, to get to where we are. From there, it's back in the water, getting everything hooked up and brought out. We try to give them our best assessment of that underwater scene. Again, whether it's the vehicle we're looking for or not. And that involves, how is the vehicle positioned underwater? Are the windows up or down? Is there anything that we can see inside? Is the seat belt latched? That kind of thing. Because there's times where if there are remains in the vehicle and they've been down there for a longer amount of time, it's not necessarily still going to be sitting upright in the seat. So that's why we feel for that seat belt without necessarily penetrating into the vehicle, because we do understand that it is a crime scene. Whether there's a missing person in it or not, no vehicle is in the water for a good reason. So we try to be as conscious about that as possible. Again, we're still giving them our best assessment while still kind of, we're not law enforcement. We're just a private entity who does this and comes out and helps. But we still try to respect everything that might need to happen in further processing for an investigation that could be coming up.
Plus, law enforcement's hands are full. Like, they have a lot of cases above water that they're doing. They've got their hands full. So we don't want to bother them until we need to. So when we go in there, like she said, we are civilians.
Right.
So we just go in there and, hey, we got this car. There you go.
Now, it's what's really cool too is I notice in the videos when you do make the discovery of the vehicle and you contact the authorities and they come out. In my mind, the authorities would be like, all right, thanks, guys. Now you get behind this yellow line. But no, they're still there with you and you're still doing the work. Like, I love that they show you the respect that you've gotten this far. We're going to work together and you're still going back in the water. You're still hooking it up. You're still pulling the ropes. Like, I like how they let you work it through fruition, because without you, they wouldn't even have been there.
There's only been one case where we were kind of tricked into leaving the scene and then they wouldn't let us back on. That has since been resolved. But for the most part, even if they have their own dive team, even if their dive team is familiar with having to remove a vehicle, they will still let us stay on scene. So that way we can provide our expertise as far as how has, we can let the divers who are going down know exactly what is happening underwater, what they should expect, where our buoy marker is at. If they go down our line, where are they going to at on the vehicle, that kind of thing. So we're incredibly grateful to be able to work side by side with law enforcement and build that relationship, because there may come a point where they need us in the future, or unfortunately, if somebody does go missing in that area again, they know who we are, they know what we're capable of, and they know that we're there to assist.
Now, I found it to be very mutual, respectful, and I was really happy to see it. I put up a message from Depths of History, who I've known for many years, who used to do a lot of metal detecting, but now is with you guys on a lot of these excursions.
Yes.
He's, I guess, part of the crew. I've seen him in many of the videos. So what a shift that was. Another metal detecting person coming over to now doing this really important work.
Well, for everybody who doesn't know, I actually have a Deus 2 metal detector, and Chaos Paddlers also did metal detecting. So with me and Quarter Hoarder, we would always talk back and forth, and then I met up with Depths of History, but I think that was because of diving, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I met Quarter Hoarder, and then actually, can I bring it up that I did your logo?
I have it right here, Jacob. See up in the corner, the logo, Doug, that I've been using for 10 years, the one that you have on your machine, and Lynn, it's on your machine. I sent out over 5,000 stickers over the years. That logo was designed from start to finish by Jacob. And I loved it so much. My channel was small. I thought, like, how cool. I never even thought of that. I was so honored. I think I sent you a silver $50 because at the time that was a lot.
Yeah, you did.
I've been using it for 10 years now, and I can't give it up. And thanks to Jacob, it's become an iconic part of my little thing here.
I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, man, he's still using that.
I am still using it.
But yeah, Britton from Depths of History, he's been a good person. He's learning a lot from us. And I've learned a lot of metal detecting stuff. But yeah, I used to do a lot of metal detecting and still do. I go and travel this area, and I go into places that I'm like, oh man, like 30 minutes of metal detecting this spot would be amazing. Then I'll go out and metal detect after we, are settled down for the night or something. So it's pretty neat to be able to do that and kind of decompress.
Yeah. Now you need something to take your mind off of the stresses and just relax. And metal detecting is great for that. Who doesn't love digging up buried treasure, Lindsay? Lindsay, you got a metal detector?
Actually, Britton from Depths of History. I've been with Jacob several times, especially like if we're anywhere near a beach.
Beaches.
That's his favorite.
Beaches.
But Britton actually gave me my own last year, I think it was. So now I don't have to take turns with Jacob. I can go.
There you go. Same over here. We all have ours for the same reasons. Lynn didn't have one for 3 years going with us.
Congratulations on that great find too, by the way. That dime was amazing.
They do. It's incredible what you can, and it's just you get on good spots. We go out there all day, sun up to sundown, and it's bound to happen. And everyone gets their turn. You know what I mean? Like I might have a good day today, Lynn tomorrow. Doug never has a good day.
I like Doug. Doug's my favorite.
The aluminum procurer.
He's the aluminum monster. I did have a question, Jacob. It's part funny, but part serious. Is there a restriction when you're trying to put that mask on and you got that big long beard? Is there I would imagine some small hairs might create a gap.
So my mask doesn't go any further down than this, right? So then I got my beard cut or my mustache cut. So whenever I got my mask on, I'm sealed. Now with a full face, you put Vaseline over this portion right here, and that makes a seal on the full face mask, so it doesn't bother me. But what we'll do is we'll do this little number and then put it in my hood.
Oh, look at that. Now, when I met Jacob, he had no beard. This is all new to me. He had no beard.
Yeah.
And when he was paddling for his life down these waterfalls, there was no beard. So this was kind of new to me. I love the commitment that he actually shaves his mustache around the goggle design. That's commitment, Doug. Now I want to have a couple of pictures again, not to be, a somber mood, but take a look at some of these images. I'll bring them full screen, Doug. After Jacob, the team have gone down, got these cars, they call the tow trucks out. They got to get these things out of the water. It's mud, it's muck. They got to go down and make sure it comes up, it doesn't break and fall apart. I find it to be, I'll go through a couple of them here.
That's actually Lindsay's first car that she pulled by herself. That was the
Wasn't
Dodge.
the one before that?
Yeah, that Dodge Journey. Yep. That was my first time by myself.
I have a picture. I'll show it later. I'll show it now. Hold on. Let me, I don't want to give the other ones up. So let me go back. Hold on. It's, here it is. I don't know if this is the same one or not, but this car started to come up and Lindsay got this big rock and smashed through the window. I mean, I thought she would have lacerated her whole arm up. It looked like she got all cut up.
I'm the one that cut my pinky.
Was it you?
Yeah. Jacob actually ended up getting cut on that car
because
he wasn't even in the water.
I tried busting the rock. I tried doing the same thing she did, and it didn't break the first time. So I did it again, and I got my pinky. Pretty good.
Wow. Lindsay was like Bryce Harper throwing the guy out of home. I mean, it went right through. It was impressive. But I'll go through some of these photos. There's the one I showed again. Yeah. And they got to hook up those cables under the water in the dark, fighting the current. It's really a physical and emotionally enduring task.
It is.
I got a couple more. This one right here, like trying to pull that out through the mud.
That was kind of a disaster. We actually thought that was one of the vehicles we were looking for, and it turns out to be a different one. But it was sort of like it was a Ford Ranger that what we were looking for. But I couldn't tell what it was underwater because of all the stuff. So I'm like, I don't know if it is or not. Let's pull it out, and we did. Obviously.
And it was the wrong vehicle that you were looking for.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I couldn't identify it, but I'm like, I know it's a single cab. Oh, that was the one in Texas.
Yeah, I mean, you could see like once they locate it, now all the authorities become involved. A big tow truck's got to come out. It's got to be a big cost for the department. So, but I mean, what they're doing is just so important. So this was in Texas, Jacob?
Mm-hmm. Katy, Texas, I believe.
Yes, their dive team actually pulled that one out. So we're actually up here on the right. But their dive team came out, really awesome, and they got the job done. So,
well, nice. I imagine a lot of towns don't have a dive team, so you're the dive team.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's another one. I mean, just that's your boat in the background there, isn't it?
Yes.
The boat's really cool. I was trying to find a good picture of the boat. I couldn't find a whole one, but I'll get into that in a second, like what you've put into the boat and the different equipment that you use. I think I have one or two more of just the extractions and just everything that's involved after they locate it. I think this might be the last one. Let me just make sure.
The car before, that was Bill Weber. And then the next car was Abigail Brandon. Mo's vehicle.
Now, you still remember all the whoops, I went too far.
Yeah.
You still remember all of them. That's gotta How many cars have you pulled out of the water over the years?
Over 200.
Yeah.
Wow, over 200.
We found over 1,000.
Now, I know that the boat that you're using in the background back here is relatively new. You got that within the last couple of years.
Yeah.
What were the upgrades that you wanted from what you were using? And I'd like to think with the good publicity of what you're doing, you're getting some sponsors to help you, outfit the boat for whatever it is you need to do what you're doing.
Yeah. So we had amazing backers, and they helped us purchase a boat from Texas EquiSearch. And while we were searching for someone on the frozen Mississippi River, Sea Arc boats actually reached out to us, and they said, "What would it take to get you in one of our boats?" And Jacob, thinking that it was just like,
Some random.
Yeah, Joe Schmo calling from some boat, was like, "Listen, I'm in the ice on the Mississippi River. The boat was like this because we were trying to break up ice. We were tipping on our side." And Jacob's like, "I can't talk now. I'm searching for someone." And he hung up the phone on this person. Thankfully,
That's why you answer the phones, right, Lindsay?
Yeah. Thankfully, about a week later, John Ed from Sea Arc Boats actually got a hold of me. He explained everything. He said, "We want to get you guys in one of our boats. We want to provide this for you." So it was about a year of us talking about everything. If we could have our dream boat, what would it entail? Jacob kind of, designed a boat, and we were like, well, we would love to have grab rails on the outside for the divers to, either hook into or hold on to
For safety.
We need a different a certain kind of ducktail off the back of the boat. It's got to have a ladder. We've got to have this. It's got to be able to have these sonars. And last year in April, we were able to pick up that boat from Sea Arc Boats. The only thing on that boat that was provided by us is two sonars. Everything else on that boat was provided to us by Sea Arc Boats or one of their affiliates. They built us a custom-made 26-foot boat with a cabin. They put on two new sonars for us in conjunction with the two that we already had. The Suzuki motor, the cornfield fishing pole, which is this pole that allows our live scope to rotate in a 360, all with a little remote. A trolling motor. Everything on there is custom for us. There's not another boat like that. And then through Sea Arc and what they've provided for us, we've also been able to build relationships with Cornfield, who provided the pole for us. An affiliate of Cornfield's called Hammerhead. They maintain all of our sonars for us. They sync all of our stuff. They make it so everything works flawlessly together. It's truly incredible that someone you have never met, a company like Sea Arc, believes in you enough without knowing you, without meeting you, without anything, to say, "What can I do for you?" So that was incredible.
It is. And that's not like some cheap $25 thing either. I mean, that's a huge expense. And for them to put their faith and their brand in your hands is a lot of trusting. They must have really appreciated what you're doing. And that's really nice of them to help you do this work, because I'm guessing your old boat, if I know Jacob, was probably held together with some duct tape and toothpicks, and it got the job done. But, it's probably wasn't exactly cutting edge,
Hey, I can rig a lot of things up.
I know you're like Frankenstein.
And yes, the old boat was held together by toothpicks. But it was still my boat. It was still a strong boat,
I hear you.
But the retail value of that, they trusted us with $90,000 boat.
I'm sure, at least. And then all the sonar and everything like that. I even saw a few videos where besides the sonar in the boat, you had like a remote control. It looked like a Roomba that would like leave the boat, and it's just like swimming along. And I guess you're watching the screen. I mean, the technology that you're using for this, it looks expensive. It looks fairly complicated, but I mean, what a time saver. what a way for you to have better chance for success at what you're doing.
Yeah, it truly is incredible. And I think first and foremost, like, yes, great. Thank you so much to SeaArk and everything. But it really is all of the people who watch our videos and support us daily. Like, SeaArk would have never known who we were if it wasn't for all of them. So everything for us will always go back to the subscribers and the Chaos family, and those, especially the ones who have stuck with Jacob from the beginning, because that is a lot of work to stick with him for that long. So, but it really always will go back to all of our supporters, always.
It's one of the good things about the internet. The internet gets a lot of bad rap, but there's a lot of good that comes out of it too. And it's a good way for communities and like-minded things to come together. And I really always try to focus on those positives because, look what came out of it. Jacob, Ken King, Adventures in Dirt is in the chat. And Chaos used to have his sticker on your truck. Do you remember Adventures in Dirt?
Yes, I do. I remember him very well. So there for a while, I was putting on the people who donated to the cause, and I put his name on the back of my my Jeep. I no longer have the Jeep anymore, but yeah, I remember his name very well. There's a lot of people that are on your channel that when we were, when you were on live. So I'm not going to say believe this or not. You were like an idol to me on metal detecting. Like, I looked at you like, people, it's just like, it's like depths of history and stuff like that. And Michael, it's like all those big people. Man, I wish I could metal detect like this guy. You were that guy.
Man, I'm sorry you get to meet those people that come. But no, I appreciate it. I've known you a long, long time, and I always liked you, always rooted for you. And I'm glad to see, even though you pivoted, I'm glad to see you're getting success and you're really doing, some great work.
Thank you.
I had a couple questions that I posed out to people before the show. And if anybody has questions during the show, please put them in the chat and we'll all try to keep an eye out for them. But, and this might be another one for Lindsay, Jacob. But can you walk us through the typical search operation from the moment that you first learn about the case to what's involved before you even get on the water?
Definitely hear a question for her.
I know. You can go to the bathroom.
So, in whichever manner we receive the information, again, whether it's family, law enforcement, community member, something like that, we get sent this information. Our case focus is on people who are missing with their vehicles. So I go in, I do as much research as possible. I try to get as much information as possible through the different missing persons websites, news articles, see if there's family available. If it's not family that reached out to us, gather everything that I possibly can. From there, we find out, where they were supposed to be at, and where they were last seen. Older cold cases, the older the colder. There's not cell phone pings, there's not OnStar, there's not license plate readers, there's not ring cams. So a lot of these old cases, you have to just kind of narrow it down by that person and their habits, and that kind of thing. You have to try to figure out who this person was 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
Was there alcohol involved? Was there anything like that?
Yeah. So we get as much information about that person as we possibly can. And then from there, we go into mapping out details. One of my very best friends, Shelly, she is incredible with the maps. And I will start going through and I'll say, this is where they were last seen. This is where they were supposed to be going. And then I will start pinning places. Okay, I want to do this, this, and this. And then she goes in and she'll add in additional things if we do need to spread out our search area. So between her and I, we can create this, 10-mile radius map of every single body of water that was present when that person went missing. There's a
I
lot
saw
of
some of your
times.
cases were 50 years old. So like the
Mhm.
roads have changed, maybe the waterway changed. Like that's got to be a difficult task in itself.
Yeah, so we're able through like Google Earth. There's a website called Historic Aerials.
Yeah,
You
we
can
use
go
all.
back and you can go back in time on all of those. So if there's a pond that's on a curve today, we go check and see if that pond was on that curve back then. If it wasn't, then I don't need to go search it because it's not even a possibility. From there, then I kind of carve out the time for us to go work on that case. If it's a case that's more than 3 hours away, that's when we will add it into one of our bigger trips where we work multiple cases along the way. If it's something within, 3 hours, then we can just, okay, let's get in the RV and go. And then from there, it's, we try to utilize the big search boat as much as possible. When it's ponds and creeks and little things like that, then we'll utilize the little buddy. And then as we're searching things, we go through and we're marking it off the list. Okay, this is cleared. Some kind of detail about that lake so that way I can remember it later. I can probably tell you if I looked at a map for each missing person case, every place that we've ever searched. My brain just works that way. So, and then from there, it's just a lot of staring at that sonar, going back and forth. And I refer to it kind of as cutting the pie. When we are doing this type of work, it's not just go down the river in a straight line. It's you go down the river this way, and then you're going across the river this way, and then you're cutting it at an angle each way, and different paths can create different shadows. You may see something that you see one way and not another. After that, it's all about the diving portion of it, getting in the water, seeing what is down there. And then from there, it's when we would bring in law enforcement.
It's literally like metal detecting on your crisscrossing different directions. You
Well,
get
I'm
different
trying to make
sounds.
that comparison in my brain. It is kind of similar.
Yeah.
But the harder part, it doesn't take much effort to inspect every signal, but to suit someone up and go down there, I'm guessing that, you might make several passes and you'll see a lot of anomalies that you're not sure of, but you don't want to send them down for every single one. So you probably want to hit it from different directions and really make sure, because, that's a certain time and expense and danger. You probably want to limit, the marks that you're more likely to think could be what you're looking for.
I've sent a lot of divers down on rocks.
You would have, but she wouldn't. I could tell she's responsible.
There's a lot of things where there's a lot of times where like the river was super raging and we knew that this person rolled a couple times. So I've seen big rocks. I've dove on a rock and I swear to you, when I came back up, it was a Fred Flintstone rock. It was perfect. Perfect. And it looked like a car to me, but it wasn't.
Wow. No, it's pretty crazy. There was a few questions I want to try to get in because I want to get people's questions in.
I have one.
Yeah, Doug, go ahead while I'm going through because there was a few that popped in.
Okay, what is the oldest cold case that you were able to crack?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So the oldest one that we have solved was there was a girl. She was 19 years old. Her name was Samantha Hopper. She had her young child with her. I believe her daughter's name is Courtney, and I believe she was right around 22 months old. They had been missing for 23 years in Lake Dardanelle down in Arkansas.
Wow. And all of these cases that you take on, are all of them initiated by someone else, or do you just go on the internet and be like, let me see if there's a missing person and I'll just take it upon myself to go look for them? Or is it usually someone reaching out to you guys?
So when, like for instance, we have one of our bigger trips scheduled. We'll be gone from mid-April to mid-May. 2 or 3 of those I think we're working 6 or 7 cases on that trip. 3 or 4 of those cases came from someone. And then the rest of the cases, I plot those cases out on a map. And then from there, I'll go and look in between those cases on what else is out there. And then that way, we can be trying to help as many people as possible without, it's never a waste of time ever to go search for somebody. But if we're going to be traveling that kind of distance, we want to be able to utilize our time and our efforts and the support that we get and search for as many people as we can in that process. So we get certain cases, and then I fill in the gaps again through NamUs, Missing Persons of America, Charlie Project, Map the Missing. I go on there and then plot cases in between those, so that way we can have a whole case roster when we head out on the road.
Well, it's just like your videos and stuff. That's how I'm able to pay my bills and be able to do this for law enforcement and for families free of charge. Is the royalties off of YouTube and Facebook pay my bills, donations, and everything I have left goes towards traveling and helping families.
Yeah, I was going to say, all these expenses that you pick up, they're all paid by you guys. It's not like the family's paying you or the police
Absolutely
are
not.
stipend. It's out of the goodness of your heart and through donations and merchandise I saw and things like that helps offset the cost that you guys are accruing from, traveling all over the place. It's not cheap to do this. Lug that big trailer, the boat, gas, lodging, eating out, everyone knows what goes into being on the road for a while.
With some of the law enforcement that we've worked with and for, they actually have given us, maybe not, it was like a donation, but it was also like a, hey, thank you for coming here and helping solve this case. And they were able to help us out like that. But we we never request, and we never
accept anything from families.
Expect from families, nor do we ever accept anything.
No, that's I'd be the same. There was a question I got here from Ken King. What was your scariest underwater moment as just a diver in general? I'd imagine it's probably even more so when you're working around this heavy machinery, fighting the currents and all that. Have you had a moment when you were diving where you got a little nervous that things got, a little tricky?
It would have to be
both of you, because you both dive.
It'd have to be in Steubenville. I was fine. Everything was good. We were working on an FBI case. We were working on a case that actually, if you see the side of our boat, it says in memory of Fred Abdallah. Well, he was a sheriff, running sheriff 38 years, the oldest sheriff that ever held office for that long. He was working on a case, and we were over there working on it. I was beside the truck that we were looking for. I was trying to get a VIN number. I was trying to get something to identify, yes, this is the truck. It met every requirement that we needed for that truck, but we couldn't identify if it was the actual truck. So when I was over there, all of a sudden, I just flipped over the whole truck. It just hit me all at once. And the current got so strong, they opened up a gate, they did something, and it spooked me. But, we were able to get it under control, and I came straight up and was like, okay, I'm not going back under. Not today, anyway. What about yours?
So I'm pretty good at separating emotions. Like when we find somebody, it's strictly business. I don't think about anything that we're doing. But as far as diving, probably my first dive out of the quarry. And I wasn't even scared until after I got out of the water, or until after I surfaced. And that was just because I found out that I was digging in frog eggs, and I am absolutely terrified of frogs. I'm terrified of frogs.
Wow, you're terrified of frogs.
I've dove in water with alligators, knowing that there's alligators in there. I'm fine.
I keep telling her she had a trauma in her little younger life, and she still can't get over it. And I'm like, are you serious? I couldn't see what we were digging in, and I finally, all of a sudden, this like clear goo come across my mask, and I'm like, oh, those are frog eggs. So whenever I got up on top, I looked over at her and I said, you weren't digging in silt, you were digging in frog eggs. And it never dawned on me. Why did I say that? Because she flipped out. She was mad at me.
Yeah, don't even tell her. That's
Yeah.
I guess if that's your biggest fear, to have frog eggs smeared on your mask is like it's like a horror movie.
Frogs and snapping turtles. I'm
I can
terrified
see
that I'm gonna
snapping turtles.
I could see snapping turtles
Yep.
too.
Yeah,
I'm terrified that I'm gonna, go to reach into something to feel for something and I'm gonna lose a digit.
oh, that's like saying I'm afraid of crocodiles and houseflies. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
the other one.
Same thing.
Can I make a
I'll fly you by.
suggestion?
Do what?
I'll make a suggestion. Tomorrow you have some snapper turtle soup and frog legs for dinner. You'll be over your
She
fears.
won't eat frog legs.
Nope, I won't even try them. I
I was
can't.
eating them in front of her, and she's like, "You're gross."
No,
Yeah.
she wouldn't do it.
No.
Have you ever thought about doing some metal detecting under the water, looking for things down there, Jacob? I mean, I don't recall if you even did that back then, if you detected under the water because you have that skill set of diving.
So Detector Warehouse actually sent me two Sea Hunter 2s, Mark 2s, the real short ones.
I'm familiar with them, yeah, with the knobs.
Yeah. Yep. And I use that. But I was using it in a place where people did a lot of drinking. It was a party spot, and all I was getting, the whole thing was just buzzing. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't know how to set it. So if I go to a spot that I can actually fine tune it, I'd probably be better. I did find a few things, but more eyes than what it was metal detecting.
No, that's true. You probably can't see a whole lot. I don't know at what depth visibility is gone. A lot of the areas you guys are hunting look pretty murky. So it's got to be a whole different, I'm guessing. I've never, been in that scenario.
I love underwater metal detecting.
There were some questions. I tried to scroll back up. If I didn't get them, please put them back in. I'm going to try to pay attention because it's not easy to do both of them.
It's so crazy to be like the center of attention. I mean, I like Doug up there. I love Doug. I love watching him. I've watched him on your videos. I'm not too familiar with the two other ones, but I did watch her get a.
I'll bring them up. There you go.
I did get a nice. Was it a dime or was it like a half royale? I can't remember what it was.
Oh, the Trime. It was a 3-cent piece.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was
Jacob,
awesome.
Not to toot Lynn's horn, but I will. I will. Lynn has been detecting with us since around maybe early December. Now, from early December till present day, she's only dug 4 coins ever in that 3 months. 4. And every one of them was from the 1800s.
Wow.
3 of them were like total bucket listers.
Nice.
I'm still waiting to see her first zinc penny, her first clad dime.
That's all I find.
She digs the really good stuff or nothing at all. Like that's her MO.
Yeah, I feel like it's all downhill from here, though.
Well, I mean, she got a silver seeded $50 from like the 1870s.
Wow.
Before she dug like a modern penny that some kid lost last week.
I found a World War II medal, good conduct medal. That was like my prized possession. I lost the cigar box that it was in and all my other, Indian heads and all that. And I wanted to cry. Hopefully it's still in my basement somewhere. I just can't find it. But my oldest coin was an 1895 Barber quarter.
Wow, that's still pretty good.
I found that out in the yard about 12 inches deep, and I couldn't believe it.
I remember your good conduct medal. I remember the video when you found it and put up, and I remember you were sending me pictures of it.
Yeah.
Because, the relics always stand out in your mind when you find something cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to harp on bad stuff, but our good friend NEPA History and Archaeology Service wanted to know, how did you lose that YouTube channel, the Chaos Paddlers? I don't even remember, but I do remember you lost it. Do you remember what happened?
I do not know what happened to the first one. I do know that I do know what happened to the first one. No disrespect, no race. I don't even know. The Japanese took it.
It was a Japanese person.
But because they were on the channel doing a live stream.
I don't remember. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. You gotta remind me.
For a whole week, I was in their chat saying, "This is my channel. Like, get off of it." Like, I mean, obviously they didn't know who I was or couldn't even speak who I was. But for a whole week, I get to watch my channel get demonetized
It
and
was like a Japanese game show. with-
yeah,
Oh, so
yeah.
your channel someone got your password, I guess.
I don't know how they, yeah.
They
And then
changed it, and then they started posting Japanese game show content on your channel.
Yep.
And all the videos that you had on there, what they took
Gone.
those down?
Gone.
They deleted
Wow.
them, didn't they?
I never got it back, and it just it made me sick.
Yeah.
And then the other time, I've lost it twice.
I remember there was a second. What was the second channel called?
It got
Do you remember?
deleted.
I Chaos Paddlers.
Oh, the second one was the same name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually I opened up an email.
Oh, yeah, and you got taken over or something.
Hacked.
Yeah. Now I'm guessing with Lindsay on board, you probably have safeguards in place on this newest channel.
Well, I've told her. I said, "Don't you open up an email unless you call them first."
Yeah. Listen, I've heard horror stories of other people. Same thing. I mean, big channels, hundreds of thousands of subscribers that, one false move and, it's gone.
Over.
And
So-
YouTube doesn't care. They don't care
No.
if you have 1 million subscribers. They're not going to, they don't care.
And
So,
Facebook is easier to get hacked.
yeah. People get hacked all the time on Facebook. So Lindsay looks like she knows what she's doing. I have a feeling that you guys are locked down pretty well. But thank you, NEPA and History and Archaeology Search. There was a few other ones here. Jacob, how can people help support future missions? Do you guys have like a tip jar? What can people do? Because you guys are doing the Lord's work and you're paying a lot out of your pocket.
It means a lot. First and foremost, for people to ask, and you ask on your channel, that means a lot to me. chaosdivers.com is a way to support the channel. You'll see all of the ways that you can support. I mean, there's multiple things like the Amazon wish list for supplies that we need. We've gotten a lot of response from our Amazon, and so when Lee Aquaventure comes over from Ireland, we've got a guy coming from Ireland in April. When he comes, he's not gonna have to worry about food because we have enough gift cards that, I mean, unless it's an off deal like restaurant, we probably have a gift card for it. So it's a blessing. So that's chaosdivers.com is a way to think.
And I did see a lot of merch, a lot of good shirts. Like I said, Jacob designed my sticker. He's an interesting guy because his brain works different than most people. He comes up with these crazy ideas and thoughts, but son of a gun, the guy brings it to fruition, and you're like, how the heck did like that giant wood lathe with the turning thing and the paragliding and just weird stuff, but good-hearted guy, and he follows through, and you can't help but want to support him.
If you know what I've went through in my life and how my dad was, he was also the same way. He is he's still with us, but he was. We had nothing and we made something.
No, for sure. There was a question here came in on my Facebook one. I guess it's for both. I guess both of you. Was it difficult to learn how to use all the sonar machines and try to figure out how to read them and the information they're giving you? I saw one of the videos this week where you kept seeing these anomalies, but turns out they were like fish habitats, or like, how do you start to go? Because I'll bring the picture up again. Like when I look at that, I mean, there's something down there. I don't know what, but to put someone in a suit, send them down, which is always dangerous. Like, you want to be pretty darn sure that that's a good possibility. How long did it take you to read that? And how comfortable are you where if you think it's a vehicle, 8 out of 10 times, it is?
With your view right there, if you was to keep that on there, if you guys actually look at the shadow, you could tell it's actually a larger object. And that's one way to tell. Plus, there are wheels on there. The one above is the same way. And you just got to hit it the right direction and you see shadows. Team Waters from St. Louis was pretty much the godfathers of sonar, and he has taught me all I know. And we just looked at the sonar forever, just every day. Once you look at something every single day, it comes, and you dive on things, it becomes a natural thing for you. I don't know about Lindsay.
I think so. Again, under the tutelage of Team Waters and having them and everything that they shared with us, and I did the same thing to Jacob that Jacob did to Dennis. Is that a car? Is that a car? That's a car.
Yeah.
That's a car. That's a car.
What is that? What is that? What
I
is that? No, it's
I
not.
saw so many cars in your videos.
Right.
And you
Oh,
guys
I
are
see all. Yeah, and now I'm to the point where I'm like, that's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a narwhal.
Someone said
there's
that in the comments. Someone said
Yeah.
they see a dragon head.
Yeah. But
Dentures.
yeah, dentures, accordion. I mean, I see all kinds of things, but it's just a lot of. We are extremely fortunate in one, we had Team Waters, and two, that we are divers. When you see something on the sonar and it looks, it looks like this, and then you actually have the ability to dive on it and verify what it is, the next time you see that on sonar, okay, this is a picnic table. Because we've sent divers down on picnic tables. We sent Eric on a picnic table.
I still do sometimes.
Wow, picnic table.
The way the shadow was and everything, it looked like an upside down car. So again, being fortunate enough, because there's a lot of times where sonar teams are not divers and divers are not sonar teams.
Yeah.
So with us and having that ability to dive on every single thing we see gave us kind of a leg up in that learning process, being able to look at something and say, nope, that's not a car, that's a rock, keep going. Now, there are, and this is something Jacob and I may argue about just about everything. However, when it comes to reading sonar, the one thing that I will never take away from him is how incredible he is at doing that. He sees things on sonar that no one else sees. I could look at it and be like, there's no car. What are you talking about? There's not a car. And he's like, yeah, it's right here. And I'm like, no, there's no car. And he'd be like, just put the magnet down. Sure as shoot, put that magnet down. It's a car. So Jacob is, I think it might.
Or shoot.
Yeah.
That's pretty quick.
I think it's because, again, his brain doesn't work like anybody else's, which might be a good thing.
Yeah.
Or a bad thing. We don't know yet. The verdict's out. But
depends on the scenario.
Right. But because of that, he just sees things differently and he can read it differently and he interprets it differently. We've gone behind.
My head's getting bigger and bigger.
I know. We're going to fit you through before. We've gone behind, sonar teams. Unfortunately, with the case of Abby Brandenburg, they had a sonar expert come in and she's not here. We went in and found her within 30 minutes.
Wow.
When I showed that sonar expert, he was like, I need to see the image. Let me see this image. I showed him the picture of it. He said, that's not a car, that's a log. No. The moment Jacob saw it, he said, there's a car down there.
Wow.
That's her car. He just sees things differently.
No,
So
that's good. And I guess is that the normal MO? Like if you see something you think is a car, before you dive on it, you'll drop a magnet and make sure that it's at least something that's steel. That's pretty good. That's pretty ingenious. I'll let you give a plug because I think I know who your magnet people are. Is that a sponsor of your channel?
Brute Magnetics, yeah.
All right, I'm going to let it get out there. Yeah, Brute
Thanks.
They do make the most well-known magnets. A lot of people, I'm sure, in the chat have done magnet fishing. It got real popular. Do you use like a big, heavy-duty 400-pound one, or just one to know it's steel, and then you'll dive down?
I think we use primarily like their Boss, the heavier duty ones, because once we latch onto that car, that's also our guideline down to the car. So when we're in these rivers that have that stronger current, we need to ensure that whatever we just locked onto that car is going to stay put. And like sometimes with the smaller magnets, when you've got a buoy on the surface and the current's going, that the current of that going against that buoy will slide the smaller magnets off of the vehicle.
Gotcha.
So having that secure lock on is incredibly helpful for us.
No, I didn't even think about that. So rather than free diving down, that magnet line you're using as a guideline to go down, so you're not floating around in the darkness.
Right.
And whoever dives on it, I generally tell them that's not a pull line. Don't pull on it.
Right. Just use it as a guide.
Yeah.
Because you'll pull that magnet right off, I'm guessing. Oh, my friend Heath, History Seekers, in the chat. He was also saying,
I actually know History Seeker.
Yeah, good dude. And he also uses the Brute Magnetics.
Yep.
There's a question from Terry Archibald. Wants to know if you can mention any of the other teams that you've worked with. I guess you work with other teams in the past doing recoveries. I know some of them, but of course, I'll let you guys answer it.
So we've worked with a wide spread of them. I think probably just about every single one of them at one point in time. We primarily work with Depths of History. He comes out on the road with us a lot. Cooper's Amputee Lifestyle. Cooper is a diver out of Washington State, so we worked with him. Jacob's worked with Sam the Adventure Man in the past. We work with my husband, Eric. His channel is Ride or Dive. He typically does like bicycling and things like that, but he actually takes time. He takes vacation from work to come work with us. And then we have, like Jacob mentioned earlier, we have Lee, which is the Aqua Adventurer. He's coming over from Ireland. Lee is a search and recovery diver in Ireland. So for him to come over and assist us, there's a few teams that we haven't worked with in person yet, but have kind of like ping-ponged ideas back and forth and different images and things like that. So, and then law enforcement, dive teams, that kind of thing. I think we've probably, Doug with United Search Corps, we worked with, we actually just had a recovery with Doug last year. So we worked with just about everybody.
Wow, that's good. I mean, everyone comes together for things that they find that are important. There was a question I had earlier today. Someone, and I'm not even sure the answer to this, have you ever dove down for an airplane that have gone down in the water? I'm sure that must happen. Is that something that you guys would get a call for, or and how do you read that on a radar? I guess because usually they'll break up. It's not like it's going to be an airplane with wings and a fuselage laying pretty on the bottom.
There's a lot of actually missing planes up north with pilots. There was actually one found not too long ago, and when I seen the images of that, it was just and it's unfortunate, but it was just like a debris pile.
Sure.
We have searched in the past. You want to talk about that?
Last, I believe it was October, we actually took on our first case that involved a missing plane and pilot, Leonard Kowalski. He was believed to have been missing out of Petoskey. The night that he went missing, a resident of Petoskey, Michigan, actually heard what he believed at the time, because he was a pilot as well, a plane laboring over Little Traverse Bay, which Little Traverse Bay leads out to Lake Michigan. He heard this noise that night, I believe it was in 1999, and heard this noise, and it kind of stuck with him all these years. And then about 10 to 15 years ago, he actually happened to be thinking about it and decided to look it up, and come to find out that same night that he heard that noise and that plane laboring and circling, there actually was a gentleman who went missing, which led us to searching Petoskey. We were there for approximately a week searching, and then we will actually be going back this summer to continue searching for Leonard.
Wow. No, it's incredible. And your sonar, forgive my ignorance, how far down will that go? And does the viewing quality degrade if it's, a difference between, 30 feet down and, 200 feet down? Like, will the sonar be just as effective, and does it give you visually the same images?
With our sonars, accurately, Dennis will, I mean, God rest his soul, but he would fight me on this. He's seen stuff at 90 to 100. I see stuff at like 80. But they go up to, I mean, they go up pretty far, but to actually visually see them, I've only seen stuff at about 80 feet.
Okay.
But we do have a thing called a live scope, and we got it from Sea Arc, which is the extended range. So we have depths up to 300 now that we can see with a live scope.
And there's different ways of manipulating each system. There's ways of changing the kilohertz to kind of clear up your image as far as what kind of, bottom. Is it sandy? Is it muddy? Is it rocky? Depths, the turbidity in the water, things like that. There's different ways of, it's not just a turn your sonar on and how it is how you have to leave it.
Always mess with it.
We're able to manipulate it and change it for water conditions and current and again the type of sea floor you're looking at, all of that. So
just like how you guys adjust for ground balancing and stuff like that.
Okay, no, I wasn't sure if there were limitations to sonar. I mean, I assumed it can go down really far. I don't know. I'd imagine the difficulty on you guys diving from 50 feet down to 300 feet down, that's got to be a whole nother animal when you consider the oxygen in your tank, the pressure that you have to go under. That's got to be a whole different ball of wax. As far as just the challenges of being down so much farther, is it not? I mean, I don't know. I'm just assuming.
I could go into the science behind it, science of diving, but I won't bore you guys with that. Just know that every 30 feet is a different atmospheric pressure, and it's 14 point some odd pounds of pressure, each atmospheric pressure, and each gas in your bottle, like the percentage of that gas will double in its size. So I can only go 130 feet with my deep diving certification without being a tri-mix, taking away more of something up here in the percentage of nitrogen and oxygen and whatever kind of gas is hydrogen in there is in there. You put a different gas in there, so you'll never be able to double that in size type deal. It's a whole different science. It's actually very confusing. There's the hard hat commercial divers can actually dive down deeper than we can because they have air from up top.
Oh, I got you. Okay. I mean, I'm sure it's probably not similar, but those blue Nemos where the air's coming from up top and you're tethered with a hose from the bottom.
30 feet deep.
That's all they go, 30 feet?
That's
for
all
most
they.
people, that's probably good, but I mean, for 300 feet, that's got to be a pretty tricky one.
Hydrogen, and then you got to do a lot of safety stops and stuff when you're doing that but that's more rebreathers, the filters, without the compressed air.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I'm going through some of the questions, Jacob. Have you ever had one that was in such thick, sticky mud that you had a super difficult time pulling it out, or the vehicle broke up, or what you had it tied onto just tore from the vehicle? Some of that mud in some places, it's got to be, that thing sinks in. It's like concrete.
I'm going to tell you right now, I've got a 3-pool rule. Unless there is somebody in that vehicle, there's a 3-pool rule. If I can't get at the 3rd pool, we're done. Now, because I mean, it's like a fish habitat after so long. Yeah, but we took a Cadillac and we pulled that sucker. I don't know how many times. Me and Ryder Dive.
Piece by piece.
Piece by piece.
We brought out each axle. We brought out, I think, 2 of the doors. And then when we finally got it out, we had wrapped it around, what was it? The pillars. And by the time they actually got it pulled out, it was almost like in half.
The car separated when they pulled it up to the thing.
Yeah.
It like pulled the whole motor almost out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'll bring up some of the photos I showed earlier. I mean, I can see here, like, this one, you've got the strap. It looks like going around, the in between the doors.
Yeah, the wheels, the front and back wheels, while it was being removed, all popped off. So we had no choice but to put it around the pillars of the window.
Yeah, so I guess you probably go down sometime, strap it on, and as they're pulling it up, it just breaks off. You got to go down and
It's
redo it again.
the worst noise you can hear as a diver is that pop, knowing that you just lost a tire and you just lost your line and you're going back in the water.
Yeah, you got to go back down. There was a few. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but I can see some of them. Let me bring it back in. Some of them you're going through. It almost looks like you're going through the hub of the wheel there.
Yeah.
I guess whatever you can do. I mean, imagine, doing this in total darkness, 80 feet down, the current trying to pull you away, and you're trying to do this, really, tight, finger movements to get these things in these small spots when you're just going by feel, and then to have the whole thing, the whole thing brick off on you. That's got to be devastating.
That certain vehicle broke like twice, I think.
This one?
Yeah, but there was a tree. You can see the remnants of the tree a little bit right there. But the tree, that was a campsite one.
Yeah.
They pulled it. It was
like a tree.
It was 2 times bigger than the truck.
Wow.
And we were pulling it with us. And I'm like, there's a tree coming. I know I didn't wrap that cable around. I don't think I wrapped that cable around that tree. And it was like, man, it got me thinking, is there a truck behind it? And then finally the truck came out. I said, I told you guys I put it on a truck.
Well, that's the one when I saw this picture and saw that mud, and I'm envisioning that mud going all the way through that body of water. That truck goes in, that's got to be really hard to pull. The suction that wet mud can make. Definitely. And you're trying to, pull that out. I can see rusty steel things that have been down there 20 years just giving way and breaking right off. And you got to try to hitch it to whatever you can hitch it to.
There's a lot of times where, unfortunately, it's to the point where it can't be pulled. And whatever has been environmental section of it or part of it, that's already been, it's going to do what it did. I mean, it's already done. It's just basically a fish habitat from there because we can't get it pulled out.
No, I got you. Do you remember, Jacob? I'm going to go back again. Like I said, when I met you, you were doing more of like fun paddling, with the kayaks and all that. And then when you crossed over into doing these recoveries, do you remember the first one you did? And what made you kind of go from just fun living life into something that had much more purpose to it? Like, what was the reasoning that you kind of made that shift?
Now, I told you you weren't going to put me on the spot.
Was that a spot one? I would have thought you knew that one.
No. I mean, I know this one. We pulled out Nathan Ashby. I, at the time, was working with a different dive group, and I was basically their camera person. And when I was a diver at the time, but I didn't have the experience to do what we did. But I was going to get another battery, and I was the first one to speak with the family and to talk with them about, hey, they're not telling me anything. Can you tell me, what type of truck was pulled out? And I told her, and then she's like, what color was it? And I told her it was white. And she said, okay, was there anybody in there? And I told the cop previously, I said, listen, I'm going to tell the family exactly what they asked me, but I'm not going to elaborate on it. So when she asked me, is there somebody in it? I said, yes. And she asked what color of shirt. I said an orangish red. And then she hit the ground just as any parent would.
Sure.
Crying, and her family just consoled her and, grabbed a hold of her. And I couldn't do nothing. I felt so out of place. And I'm like, I just broke this woman's heart because now she knows where her family is. Then the next day I actually got to talk to her, and Lindsay can tell you a little bit more about that feeling. But I seen a lot of relief, and it was a beautiful feeling. And I asked Dennis and Tammy from Team Waters, I said, how do I do this? I want to do this for a living. I want to help these families.
It's the best way to describe it is that it is a heartbreaking feeling that you never want to give up. It's a very bittersweet moment in the sense that, one, when you have to tell a family that you just found their loved one, you just took all of the hope from them. You just sucked every last bit of hope from them that their loved one is going to pull back in that driveway. At the same time, there is this physical weight that you can watch lift off of their shoulders, because for the first time in however many days, weeks, months, years, they get to go to bed tonight knowing where their loved one is finally. So it's like I said, it's very bittersweet, you know, and to know that you got to play the tiniest part in that person's journey in finding their loved one. It's a heartbreaking feeling, but you never want to give it up.
No, I can totally understand. If I was on the sad side of that, if I was a family member, as much as I'm hoping that it's not, I would want to know. I would want to get that weight off me and know, you know, I can stop searching. You know, like there's closure. I can do whatever my religious ideas are and lay them to rest. And that's just so important. But I totally know what you mean. Like, it's so sad, but yet at the same time, I don't want to say fulfilling, but you're closing that chapter for them in the most peaceful way you can.
Right.
And as goofy as I make fun of Jacob, he's incredibly compassionate. Like I'm sure he delivers this in the most respectful way possible, because the guy just has nothing but love in his heart. He
actually, and most people are surprised, he's actually the more emotional one when it comes to doing this. I remember telling Abby Brandenburg's family, you know, that is her vehicle. She is inside. Jacob had to walk away. I was the one who gave them that news. Samantha Hopper. Jacob feels that emotion in that moment. For me, I'm able to shut it all off. There's no emotion at that point. It's just business. It's procedure. It's, okay, what is next? What is this? Jacob is actually, you know, when we have those moments. Now, I will, once we get home from a recovery, it might be a week or two later, but I'll take, you know, that time and that bit to myself and process it at that time. Sure. But I think that's part of the reason why we work so well together, is that when he can't be strong, I can be, and vice versa. You know, we're able to support each other in that way. And he knows that when he needs to take that moment to himself after finding someone, that I'm going to be able to handle it and cover it. And I know that when we get home and I take those couple days to myself, he understands why.
Yeah, no, it's a good dynamic, because, you know, he will cry with the family, which they might need, but then they also need to go to someone who's strong and level-headed in the moment and say, look, here's what we have to do next. Here's what we have to do next. And to have both of those options in front of you in this incredibly, you know, sad time is comforting. You know, it's a necessary thing that nobody wants to deal with, but when you have to deal with it, you're going to appreciate that people are doing this for you for free, you know, like out of the goodness of their heart, trying to help you get through this time. So,
you know, there's a lot of times with, you know, like in for instance, with Samantha Hopper's case, 23 years of not knowing where your mother was and thinking that she just ran off and with her siblings and started a new life. In all actuality, 15 minutes later, after she dropped you off at your grandma's house, that she had an accident, and now she can go somewhere to talk to her. She knows where she's at now, and just, it's just a beautiful feeling that I never thought I'd ever do. I know she didn't.
No. But it is good. You're right. Like you said, the not knowing, and even the thoughts that you want to push out, like, oh, maybe they abandoned me. it's so nice that now you can push those out for good and
Mhm.
know what really happened. Better or worse, but at least you have that information. Well, I said it was going to be a tough night, guys, but I'd like to think everybody in here has nothing but love for what you're doing and appreciativeness for what you're doing. I'm going to open it up one last time for any questions. I want to try to have Jacob out by 9. It's been an hour and a half already. If anyone has any questions last minute, I'm going to watch for them. And my crew, Doug, Lynn, Rich, Charlie, do you guys have any questions for Jacob or Lindsay?
I have one. At what point do you give up on a dig, or have you not a dig, a
A
dive?
recovery.
Yes.
She's a metal detector.
He's a metal detector
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I'm conditioned. Like, do you often go down and not find what you're looking for, or do you most often find it? And how long do you search before you do decide to give up?
So we do have limitations on how long we can search for someone just based off of like schedules and things like that. But a promise that we have made and that we have kept with every single family that we have ever searched for their loved one is that we will keep searching until they are found. We have gone back on every case we've ever worked. We might not always be able to hit every single case every year, but we always go back and continue searching. We just keep spreading our search area. We keep expanding that, but we never stop searching.
Unfortunately, there's hundreds of missing people with vehicles.
Oh, for sure.
And unfortunately, there's thousands and thousands of people that are not missing in a vehicle, but they are missing. It is unfathomable about the amount of people, and every year it just gets worse and worse and worse.
What's the most amount of people that you've ever found in a vehicle?
In a vehicle?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, like a whole family. I didn't even think about that.
It would have been Samantha's case. Samantha, again, she was 19 years old. I want to say she was approximately 22 months old. Her 22-month-old daughter, and then Samantha was also 8 months pregnant when she went missing.
Oh my God, Lynn, why did you have to ask that question for,
Oh.
Lynn?
But I'm telling you, that's when somebody asks me what's my emotional one, that's mine, because I do know that the little one, Courtney, she was able to see a little bit of her life, but she will never know how it is to grow up, and the baby never even got to see the light, and it's heartbreaking.
How long was that woman missing for before you guys got the call?
She had been missing for 23 years.
Oh, that long. So it was a cold case, like
Yeah.
the local authorities had basically given up.
They had, as leads would kind of come up over the years, they would kind of, go out and follow those. But a lot of these older cases, sonar wasn't an option back then. And then even some of them, sonar was a thing, but it wasn't to where it's at now in advancements. So, we will always go and search. Like if somebody says, oh, that's already been searched, well, we're going to search it again. And we would hope that people would come behind us and search.
Absolutely.
We found things behind other people. It can happen. Mistakes can be made. You could, Dennis's famous thing was like, just because you look doesn't mean you saw it. If you can miss it by an inch, you might as well have missed it by a mile. So a lot of the older cases, it wasn't thought of to look in the water at that time.
Sure.
I always revert to it as like metal detecting with you on this. And I know I keep reverting back to it, but Doug could go metal detect something, find all the things he says, no, there's nothing left. You could go down there and find, oh, you missed this.
Yeah.
Lynn can do the same thing. And Charles, I mean, it's the way that person manipulates.
Well, actually, that's a bad example because I never miss anything.
I think Jason and I would get along because I tell Jacob all the time I'm perfect. So,
but Rich could do the same thing, it's just how you manipulate the sonar. It's how you work. It's your experience behind the sonar or the metal detector.
So this particular case, what were the circumstances? What body of water was it? Did she go off a bridge? Just what were the circumstances?
Well, he said it all. You
Is that
got it
a
on the
wife
dot.
off the bridge?
She at the time she was going to be going to a concert in Little Rock, Arkansas. She had dropped her 3-year-old daughter off at the grandmother's house.
Oh, so one of her children are still alive today.
Mm-hmm, yes.
That's the one that didn't know where her family was.
Wow.
And then she was getting ready to take the 22-month-old to her father's house, and then she was going to be going to Little Rock with a friend for the concert. She dropped her daughter off at the grandmother's, and approximately 10 minutes after she did that is when she went into Lake Dardanelle. When we located her vehicle, we found out that she had just purchased this car. It was new to her, but not new. It was a Ford Tempo, and she actually had a donut on the back of the car. The bridge did not have guardrails on at that time. So we believe that there was something with that donut that caused her to veer off the road into the lake. And again, with no guardrails, there was no indication of an accident because there was nothing for her to run into or for her to, and we were able to locate her vehicle. She literally went just straight off and down.
Was it her surviving daughter that reached out to you? And if not, were you guys able to let the surviving daughter know what happened? Like, was she involved in the end results at all?
Her Samantha's family, her daughter was there. Her, I believe, like aunts and uncles, as well as her mother and father were there on the scene of the recovery. It was her daughter that had reached out, but it was a really incredible thing. Her mom, I spoke to Samantha's mom afterwards. While the dive team was suiting up to begin the process of removing the vehicle, and she just kept saying thank you, and it's one of those things where no thanks are necessary. Like, thank you for allowing me to come help you. But I looked over at one point in time, and she had told me that her and her husband had been divorced for a very, very, very long time. And they were there together and holding hands in that process. So no matter what, even the love that they had for their daughter was still something that they shared. And to just be able to witness that, it's an incredible thing.
Yeah, I mean, times like that bring everyone together, even people that maybe couldn't stand each other in most circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I mean, I can't stand Doug most of the time, but in that moment,
I think Doug and I would get along perfect.
Jacob, you and I are very similar. I'm an emotional guy, and I don't know that I could do the things you do. Just one case after another. I mean, the first case that found a situation like the mother and daughter, I don't think I could do it anymore. It would just be too much.
Jacob, what do you remember the name of the video specifically about this young lady? If people wanted to go back and watch it, since we've talked about it so much.
For Samantha Hopper.
Oh, she can look it up. I was like, I'm using my phone right now, and I don't remember the actual title, but I do have a section on my playlist. Look up Chaos Divers, and I do have a section on there that says Solve Cases. It's a playlist, and it's.
She was. I don't know if we're up to date on that.
It's just the first couple ones.
Oh, solved missing mother and daughter found, and it would have been posted. YouTube says 3 years ago, but it was posted on December 31st of 2021.
Okay. I mean, Teresa's pretty amazing with her moderating. If you're able to find that one, Teresa, and put a link up specifically, that would be great. If not, go check out the YouTube page, Chaos Divers. He said it's about 3 years old. And what was her name in the title? They could search for it specifically?
Her name is not in the title.
Okay.
But I believe if you were to type in Chaos Divers and then Samantha Hopper, the
Okay.
video should populate for you because her name is listed in the description. So.
All right, so there you go. If you type in Chaos Paddlers and just look for Samantha
Chaos
Hopper.
Divers.
I'm sorry, Chaos Divers. Did I say Chaos Paddlers?
Yeah, you did.
I'm sorry. I'm still old school. That's how that's still how I know him a little bit. But no. Oh, look at that. And there it is. Teresa, the treasure hunter, in the chat. Make sure you guys can copy that and paste it in, in 15 minutes, when we end the show. Doug, Lynn, Charlie, Rich, any last questions before we get ready to cut Jacob and Lindsay go for the night? Charlie, yes, sir.
Yeah, I have one. Do they ever get a final police report that they read about? You ever get a final police report from the?
I guess you could probably at least apply for a death certificate. When before that, maybe is it still lingering? Or how does that come into play?
I think what he's trying to ask is, do we know what happened to them?
Yeah. Don't they always have a police report when it's concluded? When everything's concluded, they actually give out a report of everything that went on. So
we typically kind of find out when the rest of the world finds out.
Okay.
We go in, we do our job, and we get out.
Okay.
We do spend some time with media if they reach out, but we don't stay for those purposes. So sometimes, we have some pretty good working relationships with different departments. We work well with one in Mississippi and Ohio, and we've got law enforcement agencies that we work with closely, and they will usually reach out and say, hey, just wanted to let you know that, we ruled this an accident, or
Right.
sometimes even self-harm, something like that. But
Right.
Typically it's just kind of us following up days after and just doing searches.
Right.
Most of the time, while we do take foul play cases, a majority of ours are either accidents or self-harm.
And we also, there's a lot of times, like the people that we've helped, we've stayed in contact with the families. We were able to, see how they're doing and just be there for them if they needed anything.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, everything they do is just,
Yeah.
a good soul. Rich, you've been kind of quiet. I didn't know if you had a question you're waiting for, or if you're trying to look through for questions.
Yeah, it's been quiet.
Well, a lot of times in the chat, people have asked what's other cool things you're finding down. Not cool things, but if you find cool things down there while you're.
I know what you're trying to say.
Looking for stuff. Yeah,
there is a lot.
And I saw one to piggyback on Rich's, and I don't know how to say these things that don't make it sound disrespectful, and I don't mean that in any way. But have you found were any of these vehicles really old classic cars, like the car? Because some of these cold cases are old. Are these cars from the 50s and back in the day, that would have been a really nice vehicle, and you're kind of also bringing up a historic car, even though it's under the saddest of circumstances.
To answer the question about any kind of cool things, most of the time, if I want to decompress, we'll go out to Bellsmith Springs and I'll go dive for watches, Apple watches, when they jump off the bridge or jump off the rocks. Find all kinds of cool stuff like that. Just something just to have fun with. As to old vehicles,
I think the oldest vehicle that we located was a 1920s kind of hot rod down in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Wow.
Big lights, big. Yeah.
We've also found that conversion van. It was bigger than a van but smaller than an RV.
It's a hippie van.
Jacob was able to
like a Scooby-Doo van, like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, Jacob was able to he was searching it and was is this a ladder? Why is there a ladder? And then he realized it's a ladder. It's on a van, and again it was bigger than a full-size van, but smaller than an RV.
Right.
It's fun.
One of the vehicles
a small U-Haul
yeah,
truck or something.
one of the vehicles that we're searching for is a 1968 Catalina.
Oh, never heard of it.
Ragtop.
Just no. Is it a rag top? I'm not
What is
sure if
that
it's
noise?
a cat in heat.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Never mind.
I don't remember if it's a convertible or not. I don't think it is. I think it's a solid top. But it is cherry red. So
Okay.
if we ever find that one, that'll be obviously great to be able to provide that family answers. But it'll also be, and if we ever find a Chevelle, whether it's what we're looking for or not, it's coming home with me. So
Oh, you're
Well,
gonna
what
fix
about-
it, restore it.
What about Milligan's car?
that he's in a 1978 Grand Prix.
Okay.
Wow. I'm really fascinated by that car from the 20s. I mean, I wonder how that held up.
It
you know,
didn't.
80,
It
90
didn't.
years under the water. Yeah.
If
It's a
it's
big ball of rust.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
it
just sitting under there, it's still
You could see what it
there.
is, but
But if we were to try to pull it out, it would
Oh yeah, forget it.
would have probably just kind of turned to dust.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm sure. And I wonder if the sonar, like even though it's covered in rust, does the sonar see the bare metal or does the sonar see the rust ball? Like, does the sonar see through the light rust to the solid steel? What kind of image would come back from something like that?
it won't per se penetrate the metal and the rust. What it will do is
Look at that.
literally would like enhance it, because when you got a lot more rust and then it's more detail, and that's how I can tell, or that's how we can tell that it's been there a long time. If I could see detail, like in Samantha Hopper's case, underneath I seen the whole muffler system,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this car's been here for ages. This has got to be Samantha's. So I mean, it was unfortunately, fortunately it was hers, but just to be able to tell, a new car would shine like a flashlight shining on a mirror.
Yeah.
Just real
Sure.
shiny. The sound waves come off of it, and it's just real slick. So
Yeah, well, that's the one like from this picture. I mean, a 3-year-old would know that that's a car. No question about it.
that was in salt water for 5 years.
It looks amazing though. Like, I mean, it's still clearly visible as a car, even for someone who's never looked at a sonar readout in their life. There's one last question I just saw from our good friend Robert Thiessen, who's going to be on next week's show to promote his Come Out Swinging event, which, Jacob, let me just say, if you're ever out on the East Coast, he puts on a pretty darn good colonial event.
I'm going to tell you guys, and this is for each and every one of you, I cannot wait for the day to metal detect with you guys. I want to spend a whole day with you guys. I think it'll be a blast. I do hear a lot and see a lot of your videos, and I'm like, man, they just seem like they have fun.
I'll tell you what, it's a stress-free, nothing but smiles type of day, which you might need.
Yeah. Don't believe that.
Now, if Doug's there, it's incredibly stressful. Right? But if I
I've been
tie
seeing
into
you-
a tree,
I've been seeing you guys finding all these watches, these pocket watches.
we do pretty well. I mean, listen, you know what we're going to find every week? Every week is a treasure hunt. Every week it's exciting. 10 years, I still love it like I did the first day.
I'm pretty sure it was Doug who found a little buckle.
Doug finds a lot of Doug found now that
We can't.
even though I put pictures on Facebook, the videos didn't come out yet. So yeah, come on, Jacob.
Sorry.
But no, you're right. We find really good things. Really
You
good
would think he would put the Facebook pictures up after the
because it's
video.
not the same audience. But here's the question from Robert. If you find cars that aren't the ones you're looking for and you decide not to bring them up, do you let someone know with like some sort of a GPS marker that they're at least down there so that other searchers can know or the authorities can deal with it later? Or do you just kind of be like, nope, that's not the one and keep going?
So the biggest thing is that we remove the plates off of the car. I think most of the dive teams that we've worked with do the same. So if we go down and there's plates pulled off of a car, we kind of have an idea that somebody has already dove that. However, we still will call it in just to make sure.
Okay.
But there's no There's no real system. There's nothing like that to put out other than us contacting law enforcement. Um, and the one thing is that just because that car is there today doesn't mean that somebody can't go in tomorrow. So it's not that we don't want to share all the cars that we find. We do, obviously, through videos and things like that. But we want people to go behind us and see if there's something else there. Like same thing. Like we've found loved ones because we went and searched where somebody already searched.
Sure, sure.
So
I'm just wondering on Robert's point is, let's say you're there looking for Jane Doe's car and you come across, Bob Smith's car, who let's say is also missing, but that just isn't on your radar for whatever reason. Like, could that be another? Because like you said, there's no good reason for a car to be at the bottom of a body of water. I'd like to think there's probably something nefarious or something that went wrong for that to even happen in the first place.
In Lynn's area, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in front of the Acrisure Stadium, there's 100 vehicles out there.
Wow, really?
In the Monongahela, the Ohio,
the Allegheny,
and the Allegheny, there's 100 vehicles out in that water. The first vehicle that we dove on, Doug and I, because he was like, dude, I found 100 vehicles and I need your help. So her and I took off in 4 hours and drove up to help him. The first car that we dove on was that I dove on was Todd Domino. It was just he
wasn't even on our radar.
Yeah, and I dove down and searched the side. I'm like, man, this is kind of a newer car. So I wanted to do our assessment that we always do on every single vehicle, a full 360. And then when I looked in, I was able to see Todd. And I come up and I'm like, hey, there's somebody in this one.
Wow. So, is it worth it to like have like an underwater night vision camera that might be able to like give you better, instead of just bringing up the plate, like something that you could come up and have better eyes on it to figure things out? I mean, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. Obviously you guys know. I'm just wondering, like, is an underwater camera something that would be helpful, more of just extra gear that isn't necessary? We
have GoPros. And GoPro can see better than we can see. So there's times where like we go down and we couldn't see anything, and you have that GoPro on, you can review that footage later and you're like, oh, okay, it's blue. Wow. Or it's white. Like, you might get a little bit more. However, most of the time, like if we can't see, the GoPro most of the time can't see. There's also times where when you're in current, it's not worth it to have that camera on. I mean, Jacob wears it on his head, but it's still the current's, rushing over you, and that camera is going to end up flipped up, flipped down. Yeah. So we utilize them when we can. It is one of the things that I would say people probably get the most upset because we don't always have underwater footage. But we also have to think about, what works best for us in that moment, in that scenario.
There's technology that we're going to try to get also. So, and
it's just more cumbersome. Now you're not only trying to do everything you're doing, but now you got to hold a camera and focus it. And, ultimately, is that the main goal, or is the main goal the recovery?
Right.
So
always.
No, I get it. All right, Doug, they've been on almost a little over 2 hours. I didn't mean to keep you on this long, Jacob, but I appreciate you guys hanging in, answering questions all night. I'm going to try to cut you out of here. Is there anything you guys want to say before I let you go? Anything to the people out there that appreciate what you're doing, to the metal detecting world? I'll give you guys the last thought of the day.
I'm going to say something, and hopefully she will. I just want to say thank you all for supporting Jason and all of his team, because they're pretty amazing. I do watch their content, so thank you for that. And again, if you guys want to check out the channel, please do. It just helps families. That's basically it.
Yes, Teresa's been putting it in there the whole night. Chaos Divers. It's also a link in the description. At least go give them a chance. I'm telling you that your heart goes into these stories. You're rooting for them. You're really going to enjoy the content for what it is. I didn't mean to cut you off, Lindsay.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. First and foremost, thank you to all of you for your time, and it was a pleasure meeting all of you and spending tonight with you. Thank you to all of your your supporters who are here watching us tonight and who have stuck with us, and all of ours who came over. And again, just thank you. I don't think that word can ever be said enough with enough meaning behind it. To everybody who supports us and everything that we do.
Now, I appreciate you guys coming on. Doug, Lynn, Charlie, Rich, we're going to cut them off. It's been over 2 hours. Jacob, Lindsay, thank you very much. Chaos Divers, everybody check them out. And I have a feeling they're going to probably wind up coming back on the show again. I really enjoyed everything they add and everything that makes people appreciate.
Well, we got to give them a relief from what they do, which is very, very serious. Have them come out and join us.
That's what I said. It's all just fun and games.
I was going to say the next time we meet, hopefully it's metal detecting.
Yeah. And believe me, some of the big iron junk that Doug digs up, you need a truck to pull it out of the ground. So,
use your magnet.
There you go.
Thanks,
Jacob,
guys.
so much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
Jacob, I'll probably give you a call tomorrow, but I appreciate you coming on, everybody. Chaos Divers, thank you much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
You guys.
Good night.
Thank you.
Look at that, Dougie. Talk about doing God's work. Hold on, Doug. I gotta be on the left. I'm left-handed. But I'll put you up. I'll put you up there.
Okay, whatever.
What a really good guest. Something totally out of the norm. I was a little nervous because what they do, is somber. And normally we try to have a lot of laughs on here, but I thought it was such good work. And how can you not get behind them and support them? And if you were the person in that family in need, you'd be so grateful that there's people out there that will do it on their dime, on their time to try to help give you closure. So I'm just really appreciative of the service they provide.
Yeah, very important.
So, that was a lot of them. So let's try to end the show on at least a high note. Lynn, what kind of numbers are you anticipating at this week's antique show in
Elverson?
Honeybrook Elementary School?
Oh, at the Elverson Antique Show. You mean numbers of people coming?
Yeah, number of people.
I think they get like 800 to 1,000.
Wow.
Maybe.
Wow.
I mean, Saturday is the bigger day for sure. Sunday is usually somewhat less. I know the show that I just did in Ohio, the first day was over 1,000. And then the second day was maybe 200-300.
Well, if you guys live in the area or just want to go check it out, it's in Honeybrook, PA. You can print this coupon out. You'll save $1 off the admission.
Yep.
But most importantly, you get to see Lynn, get a picture with Lynn, and you'll make it on the show next week. Come on.
Are you going to be there Sunday? You going to be there Sunday?
Yes.
In Elverson. Yeah, that's not far from where I live. It's not far from my house.
Sunday is 10 to 3 on Sunday.
10 to 3 on Sunday. All right. And 10 to 4 on Saturday.
Right.
So make sure you guys check Lynn out if you're in the area. Again, next week, Robert Thiessen from Come Out Swinging is going to pop on. Not the whole night, but we'll talk about the event. I think it's actually sold out already. It's a great spot.
It is.
If you guys want to have a chance to dig at natural, colonial era spots, like we try to hunt every weekend, it's one of the better hunts of the year. He does it once a year. I used to do it twice a year. I'm not sure. We'll ask him next week. But keep your eyes peeled on it. There is a Come Out Swinging Facebook group. But we'll get more information about it next week. We're all hoping to stop by at least on Saturday. Teresa's even coming all the way out from, darn it, I always forget where she lives. Is it Arizona, Charlie?
Wyoming.
Darn it. I'm sorry, Teresa. I think Charlie's locked up, actually. Are you locked up, Charlie?
No, I can still see you guys.
Stone face for a while.
No, that's called onset rigor mortis.
He wasn't breathing.
No. I'm having Wi-Fi problems here, and I
got
chatter
you.
is breaking.
I thought he was doing his Mitch McConnell impression.
I was nervous. I wanted to hold a mirror under his nose. I didn't see him breathing.
I'm alive, I think. Let me take my pulse. Teresa's going to come in for that event, and KK's coming in.
Oh, KK also. All right.
She's coming.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna get some a good video out of there. It should be a really good one. I'm familiar with the spot. I believe it's virgin ground. We've never been on it, although we
Virgin
did try.
ground.
And there was a lot of Rev War activity, so that's going to be a really good one. If you didn't get on there yet, he might have an alternate list you could try to, but it is sold out. But I'm sure the next one will be just as good. So look forward to Robert coming on next week. It should be a fun one. But otherwise, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I'm tired and my throat's getting sore. I'll go around the board for last thoughts of the night. And, of course, that means I got to start off with Lindiana Jones. Lynn, I'll even put the outgoing person on the big side.
Ooh, wow.
Oh,
Look at her.
you don't have to do
In
that.
4K. I like the necklace, too, Lynn. Did you make that one?
Well, this is an arrowhead that Rich gave me.
Oh, okay. Did you
Oh,
find that
wow.
one, Rich? Did
Look
you
at
find
that.
that, Rich?
Yeah, down in when we were down in South Jersey.
Okay.
On a dig, I done that. Yep.
So
Wow.
yeah, he gave me this to make a necklace with. So I love it.
All right. Well, last thoughts of the night, Lynn, other than the lovely necklace.
I'm sorry to be missing the next two. I feel like I'm in withdrawal when I can't go. But I wish you all good luck on your hunts.
Thank you. And you'll be back at least probably next Thursday, even if you don't make it to the weekend digs for the live stream, maybe. We'll see.
Thursday, well, I'll be in Connecticut.
Oh, you will?
Yeah, so it depends on whether or not, I'll be in a hotel, but possibly.
Well, if not, I'll put a picture of you up so everyone can at least see you once. They can go back and watch this show.
Yeah.
Last thoughts, Mr. Dog Tag Doug in the big 4K launch screen.
Yeah, how do I look?
I usually try to hide Doug in the back for this very reason.
Yeah.
You look
I
great.
can't wait for the weekend. I think we got a good spot for this Saturday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With
I'm
a
excited.
lot
about
of
it. Good
fun.
weather, good spot.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. Property owner will be joining us with his own machine.
Yep.
So that will be. Oh, Eric, the Cape Cod father wants you back on the small screen, Doug.
Yeah, okay.
But this is as large as you get to see, Doug.
Yeah.
Let me bring in Rich Van Winkle. Last thoughts of the night, Rich.
It was a very interesting show. Like you said, it was different, but I and like Doug said, I don't know that I could do that.
It takes a special person. You have to, it's hard. The things that they've seen and the things they have to do, I'm sure, tug on your heartstrings so much. But to see the end result and to see that relief come over to the family members, like Lindsay said, really is the payoff, is that you're given that ultimate closure to a family going through one of their the worst things they can go through. So it's tough. I don't know if I could do it either, but I'm glad people like them are doing it.
And I think I would learn to dive eventually to look for treasure like we do, but not to look for
People.
cars.
Yeah, it's hard. Well, I'll tell you what, if you take up diving and dive down, I'll strap a GoPro on your head and I'll watch you safely from the shore.
Rich better put some lead weight on his feet. He's so skinny. He won't,
Yeah, Rich doesn't weigh a
he won't
whole lot.
dive.
Yeah. I could see Rich like holding on to the back of a dolphin's dorsal fin and like being pulled around. I see Rich in the water.
That would be so much fun.
Rich was a competitive swimmer, weren't you, Rich?
Yep. For a
Lynn,
long
you
time,
have
so.
to Lynn, do you have any photos of Rich when he used to be a competitive swimmer, like in his swim outfit, like with the rubber hood, with the rubber hat on?
Yeah, somewhere I do. You wouldn't believe how huge he was.
You got to send me some of those pictures,
Yeah.
Lynn. Rich, you don't mind, do you?
No, I don't mind.
All right, Lynn, you got to look for some. That would be
Maybe.
great.
I will try at some point. That's
Yeah.
I know we have them.
All right, see if you can dig those out. Charlie,
I
your
can't
final
wait to
thoughts
see-
on the night.
I can't wait to see him in a Speedo.
Yeah,
Well, you already have.
but he had dreadlocks too.
That's
Oh,
the
wow.
craziest thing.
Cool.
I really want to see them.
Well,
So.
it was a great night. I could not do what they do, and I learned a lot about it. And God bless them, really. God bless them both.
Yeah, they do. They really do God's work there, and I'm happy to and proud to say I know them both.
I don't even like to get my feet wet.
I know you don't even like getting in the shower. He likes to stay. He doesn't like to get wet.
That's
Hey,
about
you know, when I was in high school, we had Rastafarian Day every week. I dreaded it.
Oh my God, worst joke ever. No one even. I got the joke. I don't even know if Lynn or Rich got it.
Rich is like, what the heck is he doing?
I got it.
Oh,
Okay, Rich
gosh.
did get it. He just didn't
He
even.
dreaded it.
Rich didn't even want to humor you with a fake smile.
No, it was storming here, and my sound and video has been cutting in and out the entire night.
Yeah, we
Oh,
had it.
Same here. It's stormy here, and same
Yeah.
thing with mine. In and out.
Oh, I'm glad mine didn't go in and out running the show. That would have been dreadful.
Is that where you disappeared, Charlie?
Yes. Yes. Thunder outside.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I'm glad we're at least getting through the end of it. But all right, I'm going to wrap this up, Doug. I'm tired and my throat is sore. I'll give a last roundup for anybody in the chat if I see them before I close out here. I do want to say special shout out to Teresa the treasure hunter, who all night, greatest
Puts up
moderator,
information we'd never be able to find.
best moderator in the history of anything.
Moderator.
Always on the ball, putting up good information. Thank you, Teresa. And I'm looking forward to seeing her in a few weeks when she comes out.
Coming to town.
Ski Searcher, Alan Cleveland, Sue Ramsey, The Bunker Paranormal. Oh, new name. Welcome. Gary Morelli, Danimal Diggs, Toledo Tab, Louisiana Mud Dog, Connor. I just lost it. I got to get Connor. We're Connor's Relics and Treasures, Crazy Diggin', Craft Mo Finds. Thank you very much. I try to get them all in. Nick Sholino, Bill Weaver Music, Doug Badenhop, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Audrey Girlinghouse, last one of the night. I got to get Audrey in. But we're going to get out of here, Doug. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel right here. So thank you for watching, everybody. Happy hunting, and we will see you on the next one. Later.
Bye, everybody.